I knew that. That's good. Hi, everyone. So on our agenda tonight, we have public hearing on 213 Speed Hill Road, and we have a sketch plan conference, and we're going to talk about the other thing on Speed Hill Road and just get that settled with if there's anything we have to do, not on Speed Hill Road, on Sladeville Road. And that's it. We have to approve the minutes and then we'll open the public hearing.
Okay.
So would someone like to move the minutes from last time?
I move to approve the minutes from last time.
Great,
I'll be willing to second that.
excellent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those are approved. Thank you. So we are going to open a public hearing on the, it's a minor subdivision on Speed Hill Road. 213. Does anyone have anything to say?
Is that different than the one that's listed on the website at 215 Speed Hill
It
Road?
is 215. I just wrote it down wrong. Thank you.
Making sure.
Yeah, I did write it down wrong. Hearing none, I'm gonna close the public meeting, which was very exciting. And,
Somewhat controversial.
Yeah.
it was kind of scary, but, we will close that. And then we will deal with a motion on Speed Hill Road, because we have everything else I think we need. So I have written a motion, and I took a photograph of it because I want you to all mourn with me, my laptop died. And I can't get this damn old iPad, which is about 1,000 years old, to do half the things I wanted to do. So I've been doing workarounds, including weird photographs of things. So here is my motion, which is whereas the Town of Caroline Review Board held a public hearing on the property located at 215 Speed Hill Road, tax map 18-1-48-8 at 7 p.m. on July 6, 2025. And whereas the Town of Caroline Review Board has reviewed all of the submitted materials, the survey map, as well as the Section 239 review from the Tompkins County Planning Department, and finds the materials to be complete. Therefore, the Town of Caroline Review Board approves the minor subdivision of this property located at 215 Speed Hill Road.
Second.
Excellent. Any questions? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Aye. So I don't think there's anything I have to do after that.
Are we all set with secret, Mark?
Yeah, you did that last time.
We did the seeker last time, and I think we're fine. So that's approved. Excellent. So now we're on to a sketch plan review of on Sladeville Road.
2331.
Yeah, that's you guys.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So, Bob, do you want to set the stage a little bit about our conversations, or should I, or how do you?
Go right ahead, please.
So I'm Joe McCrone from Ferguson Electric, Joshua Lord, as well. And so I'm responsible for our logistics and facilities for our company, which spreads across from Buffalo to Syracuse, Rochester, and the southern tier. We just made an acquisition last year of Fuller Haas, which is we have Ithaca, Corning, and Binghamton, and we're consolidating Binghamton and Corning into Ithaca. So we'll need a larger facility. We've been looking for a little while at this point, not too much available that will fit our needs. So we came across, Josh came across actually John Murray's place, and thought it'd be a good fit in terms of amount of property that's there. In the process, we learned that I always say, okay, what's it zoned? It was zoned focused commercial.
Yep.
But it does need approval.
Right.
From our stand, so that's where I engaged Bob, and I think this is a newer process for the town.
Yeah.
As well as for us in terms of just how does the sequence work? We're in the end, we know what we'd like to operate with on the property. What it will exactly be is somewhat TBD, but we have an idea. That's what I sent in terms of I have copies here.
Great.
Do you guys want to look at that or have it?
Oh, thank you very much.
You?
I do love a good printed paper. But
I tried to go through some of the information that was required on the sketch plan review, and I know I think this is more of a session of trying to get to understand what we're trying to achieve and does it fit, and that's what we're looking for, does it fit or not fit? Hopefully having some recorded, before we spend $1 million+ probably $1.5 million by the time we're done, that's even before a potential warehouse facility. The things that we want to do are known and transparent, and that when we buy the piece of property, that there isn't something later on that says, oh, can't do that, or you can't do this, or you can't, potentially can't do the things we were intending to do with the property. So our goal is just to ensure that what we intend to do is something that can be done once we buy the property. And that's kind of our goal.
Is this red structure here gonna be right here in this?
The proposed
plan.
This is the current facility right here, and this isn't to exact,
Sure.
but this is to give you a general sense.
Yep.
So this is the existing facility, and this can be, again, but this is the additional warehouse. Now, that may be smaller than.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is going right there.
Right.
Okay,
right.
okay.
So this to give you a sense for.
And that might help you do something else. Is that the idea? I'm just curious with this box, that says future expansion area, what is?
Yeah, so we're gonna purchase the 20, I think it's 24 and change acres, 22 point, okay. So we're purchasing the whole piece of property, and at some point, there might be something else, or this might expand a little bit back here.
Okay, okay.
As far as that's concerned.
Okay.
I didn't want to represent, say this is it forever.
Sure.
And I think our interpretation working with Bob was no more than 60% coverage of a lot, and each building with no more than 15,000 square feet, I think was
Mhm.
and I know there was some discussion around interpreting that in terms of, is it one building, or was it no, any one building can't be more than 15 and no more than 60%.
Did we have a clearance around that?
Yeah.
What,
15,000.
is it building or building?
Pardon me?
Is the limit on multiple buildings, or is the limit per building?
It's, Bob, do you want to weigh in on this?
It's per building.
Okay.
So, which was a good conversation itself, just to make sure that we work.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
current building is 13,000-ish and change.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
but again, so it's operational, it's not retail, the materials are not, they're not chemical or toxic, it's usually wire, mechanical gear, switch gear, things like that, pipe. And then, we do use containers to flex up and down.
Yeah.
If we had to build a facility that would hold everything at one point in time, based on the cycle of the business and the projects, we probably need, twice the square footage at certain points in time. So, so that's on there. We also have our commercial vehicles. We have a line. Our business is multifaceted. We have a construction business. We have a utility business. We're actually engaging in, what's the works? Southworks? Southworks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we're actually engaging in that, working on that project. So we have a renewables division as well. It's one of the largest in the state, I think, in terms of work we're doing there. So this would help support the Southern Tier operation. For that, we also have the utility subcontract business as well. So between material, warehouse, office, probably 13 people out of the gate, somewhere in there. I think it'll be closer to 30 people in the office. Oh, in the office. Yes, yeah, okay.
We're gonna use the existing building for offices then? And-
Yes,
Nice.
yes. We'll be doing some, some renovation and modification to that.
Well, it certainly seems like y'all have looked through the town laws. As a amateur review board member myself, I like it when you tell me you complied with the code, and here's how you know. You put it in a box. I guess my immediate question, because to me, all of this seems like this makes good sense to me, right? This seems like common sense to me, so I'm curious, where is it not? Where are the places where what are the questions that we would have on a project like this? Because I'm assuming that there are some, and I'd like to ask them.
I think the things that we generally, we haven't done one of these before, so it's like, it's magical thinking. But but it's, you know, it's things like lighting, it's the lighting will go down rather than up, those sorts of things, and, I think you've made a very attractive building.
Very attractive. Yeah, I live on this road. I'm really pleased that that's what the building looks like.
So, it was funny, John's obviously, they're building a building there right now that has the clapper, or the, I'm sorry, the board and batten look, and it was funny, I was at a restaurant, and I'm from, south of Buffalo, Orchard Park.
Oh, yeah.
And I was at a restaurant, and they had kind of a board and batten, and I actually took, my daughters were, taking pictures of the other, she's like, what are you doing? I said, taking a picture of this board and batten, aluminum, siding.
Yeah.
No, I think it's more the concept of the operation.
Mhm.
You know, and obviously that needs to meet the aesthetics of what
Yeah.
we're looking for in terms of the overall objective is obviously to maintain the character of Carroll.
Yeah.
We can do that obviously as far as, you know, whether it's screening and proper lighting, signage requirements, those type of things. But again, more back to the core of what we're trying to do as far as an operation is concerned, is okay for us.
Yeah, I think also it's a very good place on the road in terms of large trucks coming in and out. You've got good view. You got good views on both sides. You're not the top of the hill.
Yeah, and that's not too heavy. I mean, you know, deliveries are. They come in between Mondays and.
I would say we see between 1 and 5 semis a day at most in general, so. Some days cube trucks and, I would say for deliveries, but.
That's good. That's nice, and it's always nice to see jobs.
Yeah.
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 But it sounds like you've gone through our site plan law and the zoning law probably, right?
I did, I did download the PDF and look through it and try to make sure we were.
Thought about those issues and everything.
I'm sorry.
You thought about the different issues that are listed.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of, and I have the map on there in terms of the property itself has no wetlands or that's a significant issue, concern or worry. The elevation, the grade itself is not significant
No.
front to back. So I did try to go through and more on the aesthetic side, the setbacks, parking on the side versus parking in the front. I know we already have some parking that's there right now.
I hate to admit how important that is. That's just like the aesthetics. I feel like it matters, So like, I'm glad that y'all have thought about that. Cause I having living across from the Dandy, I just think aesthetics are nice, especially when we're trying to maintain a.
And as a company, we'd like to have our business look. And we also, in terms of the areas that we operate, we also invest outside of that, whether it's, job training, those type of things. We actually talked to Southworks that has the name of the entity that's up from Rochester that's doing, job training out of Southworks there in the future. So that's something that we do. We have an actual separate foundation organization that we donate to different functions and charities. So
Good. What is this back onto? I don't remember. What's the property behind here?
I don't know.
Is it farm?
Well, Lois Lonsberry's
Oh, yeah, the farm.
was, which is now part of the Finger Lakes Land Trust.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
And on the side to the east, it's residential.
Mhm.
Well, it might be classified, I don't know if it's in the commercial. Well, anyway, there's houses.
There's that, yeah.
And then to the west, it's the Brookendale Church.
Yep.
And I believe they own the field behind the church as well.
Yeah.
Which is utilized, I don't even know if they.
I think they have
But
They have like vacation Bible school there and things like that.
yeah, I mean, they don't, beyond that, going back towards the woods, they own the field. I just don't know that they pull anything off, but I think it's,
Mhm.
as you get down close to the woods, it gets wetter.
Right,
And seen more than one tractor stuck down there, so.
nice. Bob, do you have any comments you want to make?
Well, let me see if I can pull up my notes again here. The only things that jumped out at me, I think, parking, we have a regulation about parking between the building and the highway. There's already a parking lot there. I think the plan is to increase it from 40 to 52 spaces. So you'd have to, review that and see how comfortable, the board would have to see how comfortable they are with that. And just the, I guess the screening measures, what would be acceptable to the community.
So on the parking lot, we have way more than 40 spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and he's been, according to that drawing, he's got his potential warehouse way at the back of that.
Mhm.
The front of our building, give or take, is approximately 400 feet from the center line of the road.
Yep.
This is the view of our building up close and from the road, that's what a little bit of trees will do for you for screening at 400 feet. You physically cannot see our building.
Right.
Parked at the box right now.
Yeah.
And if you are really interested, there's 50 yards, 100 yards, 200 yards in each direction. You also can barely see the building.
Those will be good for a public hearing. That's nice.
Yeah.
No, you're obviously burning and, burning trees and.
Yeah.
Certainly.
She said that was.
Nothing else, Bob?
Well, no, I drove back there one day last week and saw the beautiful plants. I don't think they're going to stick around where the brides kiss their husbands for the first time and as man and wife. So they're.
I don't want to do weddings
We'll
too.
list some of that.
We've talked about one more bash.
Ours gets.
I don't know.
There's an internal debate on the bar.
When you come back, we'll talk about that.
So our law talks about doing a traffic study, but it sounds like from the number of vehicles you have going in and out, that's not really gonna be much of a load on Route 79.
Yeah.
No.
So one of the things that you want to be sure that you talk with our fire departments about the size of trucks you have coming in and their access to get around. Is we need a statement from them that they're fine with the traffic pattern.
And they are specific and direct about where their trucks need to get to. And I'm sure that this is already fine. I'm sure it already can. They'll just have to sign it and they are going to come check. So their concern is often, and that's a fair one, how do you turn the damn truck around when you have to sometimes? But it looks like y'all probably have enough space already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had multiple semis all the time, food deliveries, liquor deliveries.
Yeah, my point isn't that it's not
Yeah.
possible, just that Don was right.
No, I
that
know,
they're gonna be curious.
it's turnaround, but it's also getting access around.
Right.
The good news is we have a significant amount of space with the
Yeah,
22 acres to make that.
Right, and you want to bring truck.
But it's a
food
good
back
point
in.
though, to actually consult with them as far as what they're.
Yeah.
they really like that.
So who's the chief now? I'm forgetting.
It's always the same lady. It's what you call the chief, call them whatever you want. She's in charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about using for your parking lot areas? Are you putting asphalt down as a gravel? What's your thinking?
I potentially whether it's Crawford Run or Millings, that type of thing. We use that in a number of our facilities and the Millings seem to work pretty well. I think it depends whether it's up front or side for
Mhm.
employees versus in the back where it's, where it lay down, trucks are turning tires, they're
Right.
pretty heavy and ripping things up. So, but we've used the Millings and especially when we do it in the summertime with a heavy rolling, it seems to hold up pretty well, including with plowing and Buffalo at this point, but aesthetically, probably up front.
I was thinking more about permeability because you're covering quite a bit of space there.
Yeah, so
So
and frankly, asphalt is pretty darn expensive right now.
Yeah.
If you priced it out,
Haven't, but I trust you.
it's very expensive. Very expensive.
It's an oil product.
That'll do it.
So, yeah, and I agree with you about permeability. I'd rather have permeability, so.
Well, yeah. The other thing is, because it looks like you're far enough away from all the residences around, but there is a noise thing we have to be talking about, so you just have to give us the description of the noise level and how far it would be traveling, and I don't think it's gonna be an issue, but that's something we
Yeah.
need
We'll
to,
ask about.
Next to no manufacturing or assembling.
That's all at 4 o'clock, you're 5 o'clock. Done.
Yeah, it's
So there's
pretty quiet, pretty good neighbors.
It'll be much less invasive than what's there now.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
No,
No liquor license.
no
fireworks.
no rock and roll, alcohol stuff. No, seriously, weekends are not, I mean, yeah, somewhat sometimes depending on it, but not as a practice, we don't have weekend activity. And we're not, outside with some type of, bulldozer lifting and scooping and going back.
And or SSG here, forklift. Gets here something like that. Minimal numbers, yeah.
For ours, it's all weekend.
Yeah, right.
But the neighbors never heard of them. There's.
You were not meeting.
Well, if your question is for broad operational concerns, I think I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I need to go back and just look at the law and look at this again and. I think so.
there's a list of things that you're supposed to supply.
Right.
And you can look at those, and some of them you may think are not necessary, and you can ask us to do those, but just let you know that that's part of the process.
Right.
Or you can supply answers to all the, whatever there are, 15 of them or something.
Yeah, I was trying to get some of it together for the initial
Mhm.
Yeah.
conversation to give good direction.
Yep.
And then we can certainly work on the others. Bob, I think you can work on that, I think.
Do you think that you'll be ready to, bring us this next month, or do you want to, I don't know how far out you need for the rest of your planning?
I mean, I'll get it, put together as soon as we can,
Okay,
So they don't own the property yet.
no. The whole idea was to make sure that.
Right, you want to know.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the okay. before.
Yeah. okay,
I think that there's nothing that you're showing us that's in conflict with our law.
Right.
So you should plan to be able to go ahead, and that the law is pretty specific about things that you have to address, and that's what we work on.
right,
Correct.
So whenever you do send an application in, you're not complete until the review board says it's complete application. So
Right.
just to let you know that, so there's a conversation that takes place.
And then for clarity on that, I think Bob, you and I were going back and forth. Since we're not the property owner, is the property owner or who filled out?
I would think that either of them could fill it out at this point. But when, for instance, on, what we just approved tonight up on
Speed Hill,
Speed Hill, the assuming property owner, that would have been you, filled it out,
Okay,
so,
that's fine. I just want to make sure that it was.
Sure you said.
and that's okay, Bob?
like,
It was that easy.
You hadn't bought the land yet.
Right. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Up on the Speed Hill property, the
Right.
landowner was the person who filled out the papers.
Correct. And he filled it out. Technically, it's the owner who's supposed to be the applicant. But I don't see a problem with the way, they have the owner's permission,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
if you initial theirs, it would be fine.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure we're.
Yeah, Bob, you had me fill out a form that I approved that they submitted the site plan.
Right. I have your signature as well.
Right.
So
Great,
it's really up to the board how you want to proceed. I think.
Well, it sounds like an either or, and we're happy we do have the signature, but I'll also have to gather and fill out the rest.
I think as soon as you feel ready.
Yep.
We can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the next step is a special use permit, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
and we would also have to have a public hearing at some point.
Mhm.
Where these photos would be very valuable.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did tonight. You saw how exciting that was.
Yeah.
I hope we won't get much pushback.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But
So,
So.
I think, I'm sorry. I
So-
was
so
gonna
we're-
say, the submission deadline, I believe, is 45 days for a special use permit, but the board can shorten it if they wish. So
So if
again,
you
it's
ask
up to
us,
you.
for instance, we could do that.
So next step is site plan review,
Mhm.
which obviously has other information that we need to provide.
Right,
Okay,
okay.
Cool.
okay, well, thank you.
Thanks for your interest in Caroline.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for your time and for your support. We appreciate it. I'll head back to Buffalo.
That's a hell of a drive at night.
Yeah, that is.
I just,
Just-
you know, I think this was good tonight, but, there's so many moving parts to this, and these guys are bringing in jobs and tax dollars. And I think it's also important for us as a town to look at this and how can we help them?
Yeah.
Instead of what are all the things that can get in the way.
Sure.
So if there's anything that you guys can think of, I mean, I know that we've helped businesses before, ours included, to get into this town. But if there's anything Bob or you guys can do to show these guys, you know, that we can help, that we want their business here.
Well, I
Whether it
think,
be timing or, hey, this might help you, or I don't think you need to do that, because every time. They have to go to their accountant, their lawyer,
Mhm.
their architect, whatever, it costs money, and eventually, you know, it's cost tax dollars for people here in the community already. But eventually people tap out, and it's a big, hard process, and yeah, I mean, if there's anything that can be done to help.
Well, as I said, and I think as you said too, if there are things that you think on the list that we might not need, ask Bob. Bob will tell us and we can approve, you're not having to submit.
the only other, so I agree with everything you said, and that's how I feel about this as well. The only other layer of it is that we also have a responsibility to the town and to the other people that live here. So there's certain things, like, we can't just simply say like, have it, do whatever you want, you know, so there is a process, there is a law. We are happy and reasonable people. When, if you come to us and say, we don't need this because it's ridiculous, we're here for that. We empathize, you know, like, we're normal people. But there are some steps that have to be undertaken. And so just,
And to get approval on those things, is it all the way to the next meeting, or can it be done?
We would have to approve them at a meeting, but we could. For instance, at the next meeting, if you thought you would be ready in 2 meetings from now, at the next meeting, if you said, may we not have to submit such and such, we could do that at that meeting. And then at the next, one, you could put your thing in. Because you have to have 45 days anyway, so.
So 45 days from when?
So
I guess I don't understand the entire timeline at this point.
So whenever we receive an application, the review board looks at that and makes sure that it's a complete application.
Right.
Once it's been determined by the review board, it's a complete application and the 45-day timeline starts. That's a maximum amount of time. It doesn't have to be that amount of time.
Right.
so if you get the application together quickly and submit it, then we can go from there.
And we need 2 weeks before the
The-
meeting for us to look
the
at
minimum
it.
is 15 days is in limits.
Yeah, so we're talking in a week for the August, kind of in a week for the August, right?
I guess that is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Would be.
Yeah.
But it can be cut back to 15 days, not 45, correct?
Right, yeah. So, yeah, if you could get the stuff in and we looked at it at the next meeting, then we could move ahead.
And the 45 days is till the,
From that meeting, so
To the-
say it was the August meeting, if you would have it up to 45 days, we can do it before, less than then, so we could meet in September and do it.
It doesn't have to be 45 days.
Right, it can be less than that.
and that's.
And if you had some overwhelming reason and you said to us, we really need, because of a bank, because of a something, you said to us, we might need to meet before that, we would talk and see if we could set up a session meeting.
We are here to help
Yeah.
the best we can, yeah.
I am personally thrilled that you're thinking of bringing a lot of jobs.
And the public hearing fits into that schedule where?
Once it's all approved, after that. So the next meeting after we have our approval, we will have a public
So there's
hearing.
a 15 days, a 45 days, and then another month for public hearing.
No.
That is if we wanted to be as difficult about it as possible.
So that's a max.
Right.
It could be 15 days instead of 45.
Yeah.
And the public hearing, we cannot monkey with, we cannot push off, we like, that is the chance for the town to come in and say, well, so-and-so is pointing a light into my kid's bedroom window, for
Yeah.
example, like the public hearing cannot be sort of shunted off. But it can be brought relatively quickly.
And you can have it on the same day as we did tonight. You can have the same meeting and get the public
Right.
hearing and the approval, unless there's some horrible thing that comes out.
I think that helps, because there's definitely some.
Yeah.
few that are required.
Well, the minimum amount of time should be 15 days.
Well, 15 days to get it in for the next meeting,
Yeah.
and then 15 days minimum. Maybe including a public hearing, or maybe plus a public hearing after that.
As local government goes, though, that's flying, frankly. I know it doesn't sound like it, and that's not a fun answer, but I think that's flying from.
It is. Let me see when our August meeting is. Our August meeting is August 3rd.
Okay.
Good.
Any more questions? Good questions.
That makes sense.
Thank you, appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Thank you, appreciate it. What's that?
Thanks for preparing.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah, pictures help.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Pretty buildings.
Here, you don't want to take that away. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, everybody.
They all color paint, that gets me. Let's see,
You're easy.
you make it in color.
Big paper and, oh, we're gonna publish that. So, there are two other things that I wanted to talk about tonight. One is just the end of what happened with the location on Slaterville Road, where it was on one side and the other side, and the number that I'm totally forgetting. What was the number of that property?
Oh, have to look.
Yeah,
That was a de facto subdivision.
Yes.
It's all done.
so it's a de facto subdivision. I just want it on the record tonight that it is a de facto subdivision, because if anyone ever looked through the minutes, they'd be like, what happened to that? It just disappeared.
And
So-
nobody had any problems with it at all, and it magically just disappeared.
So, yeah, so it was a de facto subdivision because under state law, if it's on both sides of a state highway in a single deed, it doesn't have to go through this.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the rationale is that the applicant can't do anything about the dividing line because there's a highway there. So really, those two parcels are
They are.
under our
They're one
zoning,
parcel,
they
two
start out as parent parcels in the zoning plan, so. That's how it works.
So now we know that.
Yeah, in that manual on subdivisions, it said the department considers it exempt from local review. So it's not really state law, but that's the way the department looks at it, so.
They
Department of
proceed.
State.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if you have the number, can you just say it so that the note taker here will know what it is, so that it goes into the minutes and it doesn't look this like just fell off the.
Jesse can add it later.
Yeah, so Jesse, that's just what we want, is that number of the parcel.
Yep, I gotcha.
Okay,
So it doesn't just like, if someone was reading this, they'd be like, what the hell happened to that?
yeah, I can look that up.
Okay, so.
It'd actually be nice to have the citing of the part of the state law or the state finding that describes this. 'Cause
Yes.
we don't have that referred to at all in our law.
No.
So it'd be nice to capture it someplace.
Yeah, so if, Bob, if you have that, could you just make a little copy of that and,
It's just text that comes from that manual, so there's no law to cite.
Right.
right, but from the manual, just give Jesse the reference for it.
Okay,
And then that would be fine.
okay.
200 years ago from now, when someone's doing their doctorate, we want them to be able to fulfill it, right?
God, what a nightmare. Yeah.
Oh,
Because.
Gene,
Huh?
I have that address for the item you're talking about was 2879 Slaterville,
Okay, thank you.
2879.
Got it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Bob.
Yes, ma'am.
And the reason I ask is I tried to go back and look at the last, on the website. the minutes for the last two meetings, when you look for the minutes, you actually get the video.
Oh,
I thought I would tell you that tonight,
that
that
needs to be.
that
yeah,
needs to be changed. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so it was for the May and June
Yeah.
meetings, the
So-
minutes,
yeah, just shoot me an email or whatever, I can tell Mike,
I will do that.
I definitely can't do that.
Yeah, it was beyond my skill level. So, that was one thing. Do you want to say anything else about that, or are you good?
Hey,
maybe
Jean,
we'll-
Jean, I can reach out to Mike to update the minutes on the review board page. You don't have to waste your time doing that. I can reach out to him to do that.
Yeah, see, that's kind of you.
we could perhaps wait for it to come up again. I guess so I don't want to do a whole dialogue on this evening, but the two things that sort of jumped out about it to me is that if that process was genuinely as simple as it was from the state or county level, why are we making it so much more complicated? There are certainly instances like with this group here where we're happy to go through line by line and make them jump through accounting hoops or whatever. I'm just wondering, sort of as a group, as a sort of government, if we're taking things that are simple enough in the state's view and making it really complicated, asking them for extra, and frankly, being quite angry at the suggestion that the lot line might get approved and it might be considered a lot line. You know, I mean, you threatened to hold up the town's proceedings over it last month, and suddenly it's that easily approved. It's actually, in point of fact, not a big deal at all.
Actually, it was not approved.
Oh, because
We didn't approve it.
right. So Don, I'm going to ask you gently, and I'll ask you once. Talk to me like a normal person. Bring that tone back down to where it was a minute ago.
Well,
okay?
you
So-
start there and I'll go right along with it.
So we can always go there, right? I'm happy to go there, but what I'm saying now is, so the problem with that one could very easily have been explained as it's not full, it's not complete. Fine. That's not what the problem was. The problem was with the idea that it's either a subdivision or a lot line adjustment. And if you two think it's a lot line adjustment, I won't vote. Do the math. We don't have a quorum. So there. And that was how we started the meeting last month. And I just think on something like what is apparently literally just a lot line adjustment. We don't need to be going to that level. It doesn't need to be that serious. And we don't need to push applicants, especially lower income applicants, into a hyper expensive process if it's not necessary. If it is, great. But if it's not, I don't think that that's something I want to build into our sort of the way we do business. I just struggle with the idea of sending someone my age or somebody with sort of my income bracket, trying to tell them that if they want to subdivide their property this much, that they need to survey all the properties that surround them. You know, and I'm not saying that that's what we're doing, but what I am saying is that we don't necessarily in this country need to add red tape where there's already plenty of it. And I think we also do it a little more gently, but that's my 2 cents.
So I have 3 cents to add to that.
Okay,
First of all, we need to have the town board define what a lot is. Because one of the reasons for not having a proposal be a lot line adjustment is that you're creating a lot. That's the exact language. Lot is not defined in the law.
In the subdivision law.
In the subdivision law. So what is a lot?
You
Tell
had a
me what
legal
we're-
opinion.
We need it in the law and not a legal opinion.
Can add it as a definition.
Yeah, we need to have a definition for what it is. So whenever this project like just came forward and you are creating a lot, then that's not a lot line adjustment. But what is a lot? So that was the point that we were working on. The other point that Jack brought up is that we need to have an understanding of what the scope of work for the review board is. And we had a meeting 2 months before that with the town's planning consultant, who gave us a pretty broad and expansive role for the review board.
Maybe even worryingly broad.
Dealing with a minor subdivision. And so, and then we had the code officer telling us that doesn't matter, that that's not what we're doing. We have to, between the code officer, the town and the review board have a common understanding about what we're doing with the minor subdivision, and we don't. So whenever I say before the meeting that we're not ready to go ahead, we weren't ready to go ahead, and we're not now. If somebody came to us with a minor subdivision, we would not be able to go ahead because we don't know the answers to those two questions.
I think it would be very helpful if we got a lot definition, that would be useful. And what do you mean by scope of work exactly?
So we were talking about going back to this project that Jack just brought up.
Right,
So across the street, there was a large wetland area.
right,
And whenever we were talking with Nan, she says we had to define where that wetland area was.
right.
And so that's not. And so whenever Jack says, why are we going through all this extra work? Whenever that may not be necessary for somebody who doesn't have money or whatever. I'm not sure that makes a lot of difference, but why are we going through all this extra work? And that's the question we need to get resolved.
Mhm.
Is that what the law says we're supposed to be doing? Is that what we agree? So we can go ahead with any minor subdivision and know how we're gonna be treating it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I found between Nan and what I thought it would make sense is she was saying if we looked at a property, that we should sort of define where things could be built. Whereas I think what Bob had suggested, and I think makes a lot more sense, is just define where things can't be built.
And we had some academic discussion about, well, isn't that the same thing? And it probably is, but it sure feels different to me to say you can't build in this creek versus you can build in X, Y, and Z. I don't know why. It might just be sort of an intrinsic belief, but briefly, because I've said it without qualifying it with the reason why, the reason I think the money part matters is that we created the zoning law out of nothing, right? Before there is no zoning, we create the law in theory to meet the comprehensive plan. And what I'm trying to ensure that does is when you look at zoning from a historian's perspective, zoning is almost exclusively, and I asked you guys about this, we talked about this, which is why I'm comfortable with the zoning law as it is. The zoning is historically used by an entrenched population of, in this country, white, upper middle class people to ensure that development stops after they're done developing. Look, I've got what I want. Really, the rest of y'all can kind of figure it out. And so what I worry about as someone who cares about class equity is the sense that if we've created a law that makes it fine for people with money to get what they need done on their property, then what good has it really done us? If we've got a bunch of people who lived here, have lived here, move here, whatever, and they've got property and they want to give it to their child or subdivide it, an additional onerous expense in this climate is asinine. I mean,
So I have a strong reaction to that.
so I'm struggling with, and maybe it's just my ignorance, which causes a lot of problems, but maybe it's as simple as, I just keep hearing about things that we're surveying, and I wonder if, are there no surveys that we can use that have already been done? Surveying is incredibly expensive, and so I'm just wondering, and again, correct me here, like, how much are we requiring of folks to survey, and how expensive is it? And if I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, tell me, but I'm concerned that it's very expensive.
So a survey is required for a subdivision of land, and our subdivision law precedes the zoning law. We rewrote it, but it's operationally the same. Every other town around here has a subdivision law that I know of. And that's how they operate. You can't, if you're subdividing land, you have to know what you're getting. You
Sure.
have to know what that land is. So
So could you use legally, is it typical to use an older survey, or is it always that you go get a new one?
I think, I would think so, that if you can get old survey data, but if you're creating something new, it needs to be surveyed. You have to have that information. But I think.
Just the new parcel, correct?
What's that?
Just the new parcel.
Well, that's my thinking.
Yeah.
So,
But is that what the law says? That it's just
the subdivision law that we have says survey the entirety of the parcel being subdivided and show that on a map.
Right, and
I think that's important.
And we are allowed to say that we don't need something if we had something else, right? If someone came to us and said,
Oh, I see what you're saying. If,
do I have to do this because this exists or I have that?
Like you're saying, I already have a decent enough map that will show you.
I had a
One of
survey.
the reasons, always, for example, if you're buying a property, you will be required to do a survey of that property. One of the reasons that it's logical to do that is, I can tell you that I've had a situation literally on my property line.
Mhm.
And it had been surveyed by one of the town's most dependable surveyors, who was my next door neighbor. After he had sold the property and a new person came to buy it, it ended up there was a discrepancy of 14 inches in the survey. And that almost killed the bank deal. So it's really important, it is important to have those surveys redone, just to verify
Mhm.
the pins, also because the land shifts. And so the pins can shift from, let's say, 5 acres up here to here over the course of 30 years.
Or disappear.
And that will shift the survey. So that's why the banks require the surveys. It's just kind of a practical matter.
I guess, and so then the simplest problem, the simplest symptom I have of this sort of like the red tapification, if you will, is this, the sort of the argument that we're having back and forth, like in that I overheard Craig and y'all having, and I didn't really know what the heck the argument was about, and I'm only now beginning to understand what Craig was talking about, that he wanted us to not do lot lines. And I know, and this is really separate from y'all's sort of dialogue, this is just like my sort of question about it. So like, why is a town, if most, is it true that most municipalities do lot lines by the code officer? Or is it, and it's a little strange that we do it? I guess I'm just wondering, it just feels to me like we're retaining authority for the sake of it sometimes. And I wonder if that's necessary. Like, why not just have the code officer do a lot line adjustment if that's typical?
Are you asking if the review board has to do it or if the town has to do it?
At this point, I'm asking the town board members, like what their thought is on that specific, like, is it really, why have us do a lot line adjustment? It seems
well,
like.
that's something that we have on the table
Right.
for the revision. So that's something we're considering.
I know, I guess.
So and the reason that I would see for justifying having the review board do it is so that you have, a lot line adjustment can involve any amount of area. And so the same objectives that Nan was talking about would apply if you're just tweaking the property by a little bit, it's likely that nothing's going to change. But if you're tweaking it by a lot, you're giving your neighbor 20 acres, then it could change. I'm not arguing one way or the other, but that's the way I could envision. And I think it was recommended when we were revising the subdivision law that we keep things under the view of the review board or the soon to be planning board.
Are we changing the name? Are we changing from review to planning?
Yeah, to be consistent.
Yeah, with everybody else that's ever, yeah, okay.
And what's the planning board becoming?
You tell me, we'll figure
It
something.
could be the review board.
Oh, I agree.
I was about to say, I thought we already had it.
I
The
don't like that
planning
idea.
board, artist formerly known as the planning board.
Well, I'll be interested to see what the town decides about the lot line adjustment.
Well-
I agree, most of them that we do are tiny.
But I feel like is there not a way you can put in there big ass lot line adjustments, go to us and the
Yeah,
small ones? Because
that-
what you're describing is made,
I
20 acres.
I was considering that.
20 acres is something I would like us to look at,
Yeah.
but 2, isn't.
Well, it is to somebody. I agree with making things as easy as we possibly can. I also sometimes think some of the stuff Nan comes up with is a little bit overboard. But I agree with our code enforcement man. He knows the law, he's done this before. So I would pretty much bow to whatever he comes up with. Because I believe he knows what he's talking about. That's why we hired him. So.
The progressive era view of expertise. I can get behind it.
Thank you for that. I'd like to say a couple things. Ask you, when we're talking about survey maps, a new survey is required for the area that's being transferred for that,
Right.
but not necessarily the entire parcel. And in this last case, I did have a wetland map. It was not on the survey map. The application was terrible. It was insufficient. The survey map only showed the area that was being transferred. But if in the future you're considering any action, is a wetland map okay, and not have the surveyor actually have to show that or survey that property? The law says the lot must be buildable. And with our session with Nan, she was talking mainly about major subdivisions, regular subdivisions, where you have lots and roads, and there's a little more precision involved there. We're in, we've got hills and streams and gorges, and it's not as simple. And as long as you can say a lot is buildable, that's all the state is asking for, that it's a buildable lot. You don't necessarily have to say exactly where the house is. And the less you say, I think, the less liability wise, it's just wiser. And we often use the common, going on to another subject, like a definition of lot. It's good to have that definition, but we can use common definitions when we don't have them. That doesn't have to stop us for that. And in that manual that Mark referred to with the exemption for these lot line adjustments, or whatever you want to call them, they also a couple pages later refer to a one-step approval for minor subdivisions that have little development proposed. And that wouldn't work here because our law is written so we won't have a one-step approval. They have to go through, the 15 days and all that. But they also have a two-step. They're trying to make it simpler and easier for the applicant and for you, the board, if there's not significant development plan. So that's the kind of way the state is going. They want to reduce some of the red tape.
What were you gonna say, Tim?
No, Tim? Okay.
May I just respond?
Yes.
So, I appreciate Bob's comment about there's a common definition for lot. And I would have to say, if that is the case, that many of the lot line adjustments we have approved would not be, they would have to be redone as minor subdivisions, because if a lot allows someone to inscribe a circle that's 150 feet in diameter, which is what the health department wants, or if it's a lot that is at least an acre in size, whatever the minimum is for the town, and it has access to a public road, then that is the lot. And so almost all those subdivisions or minor lot adjustments we've done have created a lot. And I would have to, I'd like to have this review board pass a resolution to request to the town board as soon as possible to define a lot in the section 204A.1 of the subdivision review law.
Okay, so you've made that motion.
I'd like to respond to that or is it still?
Yeah, it's not a motion yet. If you
Okay,
made a motion, it has to be seconded, and then we can have discussion. I'm like firm on that. Is there a second?
No. We
Is there a
can't have a
second?
discussion before we second it.
That's right.
I think
That's under
so.
Robert's rules.
that's the normal way.
That's a Robert's Rules of Order. You just need a second and then we
I
can have
second it.
discussion. Yes, you second it.
I
Okay.
do.
That doesn't mean you approve it. It doesn't mean you second it.
I'm excited to discuss it.
Okay, there's a second.
I'm just offering a point of information. So
Yes,
I
now you're done.
spoke with Don and he asked for the definition of a lot, and that's what led me to the subdivision review article by the Department of State. So in there, they do define a lot, and I don't have it at my fingertips, but it's any parcel of land of transfer. That's what I remember. It's not predicated on how much land it is or what you can do on it, or if you can get septic on it.
Which is totally different than what Don's saying is the regular one. Yeah, the definition you just read. of
It
the
wasn't a definition, I'm just saying if you have common
Oh,
understanding of a lot.
Right,
So that's all. So I just wanted to offer that.
Is it-
So I don't think our lot line adjustments are gonna be invalidated by that.
Is
You
it,
might have
I'm not suggesting that they are,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that going forward, we should have a definition for a lot.
is that a complicated or tricky request for y'all to do?
What
Is
is
that a
it?
lot to ask to do?
No.
Okay.
I'm not objecting.
Yeah, okay.
So we have, in that case, we have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is for a definition of lot. Okay.
It's a,
I already
I think it's a
wrote that
motion
down
for a
earlier.
request for one, I think.
Yes, it is a motion for a request.
We can't do binding resolutions, I don't think.
Whoa.
Not yet.
What do we
Make a
become a
motion.
planning board?
Yeah,
You're so powerful.
yeah.
I really don't want to have all those things that planning boards do.
Well, tough, Gene.
I can resign. So anyway,
That's what you.
Sorry, I missed that. You don't wanna have what? All the,
planning boards do a lot of stuff that I have no desire to do.
Well, we'd have to meet
you
3
just
times
changed
a
your
month.
name.
Exactly, I don't want to do that.
Already do.
Gonna smile if you can get the soccer game.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is the soccer game going?
Well, it's in 3 minutes, so unless there are really any pointed replies, which I'm here for.
No, I think the only thing we want to do is, you suggested that we meet earlier next month.
Yeah, seven is like 30, maybe 60 minutes later than I'd like to do this on a Monday.
Would anyone like to do it earlier?
6:30.
6:30?
No, but I will.
Well, I'm just saying for August, let's see how August goes.
Yeah, August 6:30.
Does that work with your work?
And if you have a work, then 7 is 7, yeah. If it's a work thing, then we'll meet at 6.
7's great for me. As you can see, I was late again.
Okay, so we're not
We
going
can
to
do
do
7,
that.
that's fine.
Okay, 7 o'clock is fine.
I wanna ask if we wanna do another training. So we did 1 2-hour training.
Yes, but I would suggest
Nan is willing to do that.
September perhaps, not August,
Okay.
because that's too much like working in the summer. Which I am against.
And when we do the training, let's focus on minor subdivisions.
So I wanna address that. Nan's training, we did not neglect minor subdivisions.
And that was my impression.
Whether you agree or not, the training was about subdivisions in general, and anytime you divide a lot. She was getting us into thinking as planners,
Right,
and so she is saying. It doesn't matter if you don't intend to do anything with this lot. Until. A black hole appears or
Yeah.
something, so,
So-
your job is to evaluate a new parcel for buildability, and if not, explain why.
With that in mind, with the. I'm wondering, as like a public school teacher, could we submit some questions, some things that we are
Yes.
curious that we
Of
want to,
course.
I'd like her to focus the training on sort of our needs, not
Yeah.
what she thinks we might need, if that makes
I
sense.
did solicit that.
Oh, yeah, I'm not suggesting you didn't, I'm not suggesting you did at
That'd be
all, but
That'd
I'm
be
wondering if we can give her like specific, this is our problem.
Yeah.
Come to us with an answer about it, that would, I think, make for much better discussion than,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
And you have a lot of time to.
maybe we'll try
Yeah,
to,
to tease through those specifics.
why don't we try to talk about that at the next meeting? Some ideas,
Okay,
okay?
still someone move to conclude,
Yes,
I think I have done so.
okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor? Aye,
All right.
thank you.